President Donald Trump falsely suggested that there is meager assistance for the Americans who lost everything but their lives from Hurricane Helene, that they were not being offered much by the federal government.
They send hundreds of billions of dollars to foreign nations, and you know what they're giving our people? $750. They're offering them $750 to people whose homes have been washed away.
That would be shocking if it were true that that's all that the federal government was offering these disaster victims. But it's not. On a page called Hurricane Helene Rumor Response, FEMA called the claim false, describing that as just one form of assistance to help people cover essential items like food and water and other emergency supplies in the short term. FEMA goes on to highlight how those victims of this disaster can also apply for temporary housing and personal property and home repair costs. That is not the only false claim that Donald Trump is spreading. Take a listen.
They've given over $1 billion to illegal migrants that came in, and now they have no money for North Carolina, for Georgia, for South Carolina, and Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida.
North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis, a Trump-backing Republican, pushed back on that claim yesterday.
We could have a discussion about the failure of this administration's border policies and the billions of dollars it's costing, but right now, not yet is it affecting the flow of resources to Western North Carolina.
It is not a factor, to be clear. Okay.
Not at this time.
There's also this claim that Trump posted on Truth Social saying that he doesn't, quote, like the reports that I'm getting about the federal government and the Democrat governor of the state of North Carolina going out of their way to not help people in Republican areas, unquote. It's not exactly clear what reports Mr. Trump is referring to, but you should take a listen to what a Republican governor in a neighboring state had to say about the treatment that South Carolina, a ruby red state, is getting.
What has been the ongoing kind of federal assistance for South Carolina?
It's been superb. We're getting assistance.
There's also this statement from Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin, another Republican, thanking President Biden for his, quote, support and continued coordination to provide assistance to Virginians in need, unquote. These statements, these false statements, are having an impact on the very people who have been impacted by this deadly and financially devastating storm. Just ask North Carolina State Senator Kevin Corbin, who posted on Facebook last Thursday, quote, will you all help stop this conspiracy theory junk that is floating all over Facebook and the internet about the floods in Western North Carolina? Example, FEMA is stealing money from donations. I just talked to one senator that has had 15 calls today about why we don't stop fill in the blank. 98% chance it's not true. And if it is a problem, someone is aware and on it, unquote. When you listen to folks on the ground in the community in North Carolina, where my mom is from, it sounds a lot like what we heard from officials in Springfield, Ohio, after Trump and Vance falsely claimed that Haitian migrants were eating their neighbors' cats and dogs. Those same Republican officials in Ohio called those claims a distraction from the real challenge, which is an influx of legal migrants, straining resources such as schools and hospitals and housing, creating a situation that needs to be addressed, needs to be discussed, but isn't eating people's pets. This same misinformation, these lies about FEMA, also a distraction, hindering recovery efforts, taking away from the real problem, hundreds dead, dozens missing, communities that will need to be rebuilt from the ground up, and also legitimate questions about whether FEMA and the Biden administration responded as quickly and as efficiently as they should have. All these lies are not helping focus on the real questions. Let's bring in our panel of political experts to weigh in. So today,